Now,
on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
7:06 here on O'Connor and Company. Larry O'Connor here, and if you didn't catch us on our holiday show yesterday, where we were live and local, as we always are, usually on holidays, great to be back from vacation, a wonderful week in Ireland, despite the horrific football game with Notre Dame and Navy, but it was delightful, and thank you to Andrew Langer for filling in here. Coming up later in the program at 7:35, Steve Moore is going to be our guest, and at 8:35, Brent Bozell. I'm Larry O'Connor with Julie Cunliffe.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julie. Well, there's a brewing controversy out there, and it's spilled over from social media, I think, into mainstream media as well, or if let's say non-social media medias, including this program right now. It involves a young woman on TikTok. You know, TikTok is problematic, to say the least.
Yeah, it's not brought a lot of good to our society.
And what we've learned is that it really is become an outlet, mostly for young women, to talk into their phones and
while
tell
they
the
put
world
makeup on
and do various and sundry things, and unfiltered and unedited, just say things about their life that probably doesn't need to be publicized. This young girl, apparently, I shouldn't call her a young girl.
She's almost
29.
30.
You're right. She's 29 years old. She's a 29-year-old woman. And apparently a big part of her narrative and what she puts out as her content on TikTok is bragging about how great it is to be a 30-year-old single woman.
Yeah, I take a little issue with bragging. I don't think she there's a little bit.
She celebrates it.
Well, yeah. Oh, go on. Let's set it up.
Here's the upside of being a 30-year-old single woman. Here's the video in question.
It's 10:45 a.m. on a Saturday. I am 29 and single, and I don't have kids yet. Here's what your Saturday morning looks like when you're single at 29 and you don't have a kid running around the house. I didn't rise from my bed until 10:15. Every time I thought, I should probably get up and do something. I thought, why? Nobody's making me. I'm not missing out on anything. I went to Beyonce last night, and I didn't get home until 1 a.m. And I danced and drank my little heart out, and I didn't pay a babysitter to watch my kids as I did that. And I woke up a tad hungover this morning, which is probably why I was in bed for so long. And I was just scrolling on my phone, and I saw a picture of shakshuka, and I thought, you know what sounds really good? Maybe I'm going to learn how to make shakshuka today. Because I have no plans, and I don't have kids, and I don't have a husband, and I don't have errands to run. I can go to the grocery store and learn how to make shakshuka. So that's on my agenda today.
Shakshuka.
Which, by the way, is not hard to make.
No, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
That is bragging. And the whole message here is, this is a great life I'm living. Because I don't, and she keeps reemphasizing, and I can do that because I don't have kids and I don't have a husband.
Yes, there is a bit of a Chelsea Handler kind of narrative going on here that, you know, I don't have little kids running around. I don't have to get up at 8 a.m. I don't have to change diapers. I don't have to do all this annoying stuff. I get that, but
why is this controversial? Well, we'll get to that in a moment, and you can come to your point as well, Julian. I just want you to hear a little bit more from TikTok 29-year-old person who loves
shakshuka. Go.
Shakshuka. What is she going to do with the rest of her day?
Also on my agenda, probably a rewatch of some Real Housewives of New York. I'm also doing a rewatch of Normal People on Hulu, which is really spicy and I highly recommend. Weirdly, I'm into this documentary on Netflix about blue zone countries, so I've got a pretty stacked day. Anyway, I say all this to say, whenever I'm hard on myself about why I'm not married and I don't have kids and I should be further along at 29, almost 30, I wouldn't want to do anything else this Saturday. And I know.
All right. So there you go. She's going to learn how to make shakshuka. She slept in.
Yeah.
She
okay.
was
So
hungover,
my reaction to this was
and she's watching a lot of streaming reruns.
Yeah. Which. Yeah.
All right.
My reaction was the same as a lot of people, just looking at, good God, this woman is so deluded. But I've become a little bit more sympathetic to her, particularly because of the pile-on. So you're going to get to that?
That's the controversy. Matt Walsh, conservative commentator, podcaster. You hear him here, I think, 10?
What is a Woman?
11
did
p.m.
the great
10 p.m. 10 p.m. You hear him here on WMAL.
Yeah, did the great What is a Woman documentary.
He responded to Shakshuka Girl, as we would like to refer to
and
her.
learn how to make shakshuka. So that's on my agenda today.
Shakshuka today. All right, so Matt Walsh comments on this. And Matt Walsh says, and I shall read it, and Matt Walsh, as you know, promotes conservative values and principles.
Yeah,
and
he's pretty provocative on Twitter.
Her life doesn't revolve around her family and kids, so instead it revolves around TV shows and pop stars. All right, now here's the difference between me and Matt Walsh, and maybe it's the difference between being hyper successful and merely being the morning show host on Washington, D.C.'s mighty WMAL. But I would have just left it at that. I would have said, here, this is what this woman's life is, and she thinks it's better than being married and having children.
I even think that's a little much, but go on. But tell him what the next sentence is.
He then says, worst of all, she's too stupid to realize how depressing this is.
Yeah, I mean, it's so mean.
And now, suddenly, the story is no longer about her. It's about Matt Walsh.
Well, it's also, this is the thing. I think that a lot of people probably reacted in the same way of like, this person doesn't have a lot of meaning in her life.
Right.
So she's filling it with things like making very simple breakfast foods and watching really trashy television. But there's no compassion. And the thing is that her second part of that, she's like, whenever I'm hard on myself.
Yeah.
Right.
I picked up on
that. That is a signal. That is a sign that she does feel bad about not having kids, not being married, and frankly, having this kind of meaningful life or meaningless life. And, it's TikTok. We don't know. Maybe this woman volunteers and has this incredible, meaningful life where she helps people. We don't know everything about this woman. But the point is it was mean. And conservatives in this country and Republicans have trouble attracting women. Okay. We lose that demographic, particularly of this young woman's age. And it's comments like that. She's too stupid to realize how depressing it is. No. She clearly knows how depressing it is because she says, when I beat myself up because I'm not married and I don't have kids, this woman, her inner voice is probably pretty brutal. And she's trying to say, but look, hey, I have, I get to sleep in. And yes, okay, we get it. But it just was a very mean, I think it was an unnecessarily mean comment from Matt Walsh. And I think it creates sympathy for this. She's become
I think you're right.
hero.
It did create sympathy for her. And here's the thing. Being a TikTok 29-year-old childless woman and putting stuff out about how great it is, and even though you sometimes beat yourself up about not being married and having kids, at least you get to make shakshuka and watch Hulu and sleep in and be hungover from the Beyonce concert. That gets a lot of clicks and views. And calling that person stupid and depressing also gets a lot of clicks and views because it's all social media.
And what we should
both
do,
of them have succeeded in their goal here.
What we should do, what should have been done, is saying, this woman is obviously trying to make lemonade out of lemons. But the truth is we should not encourage this behavior. We should encourage finding a partner, having kids,
right. If you're Matt Walsh and you're trying to promote the principles and values of the nuclear family and being married and raising children, how fulfilling that is, then talk about that instead of calling the other people
Vivek
stupid.
said it this week. I think he said, the family is the strongest institution in the United States, and that's true. People live longer and do better when they are married and they have kids and they have family and they have support. But this idea that you respond to this woman, you're going to die alone with your cat, is not helpful.
The single demographic that keeps the Democrat Party in power is unmarried, single white women.
And then we treat them by calling them stupid.
Right.
And saying,
instead of promoting that we actually have something better to offer.
Could we also say we need to change the culture of men? Let's find a wife, get married, date in a traditional way.
That's true.
Support your wife so she can stay home and take care of the kids if she wants to. There's just a lot of commentary that could have happened.
We definitely have a man problem in this equation as well that needs to be addressed. There's more to this. Both of them have responded to each other as this thing continues to explode overnight last night, and we'll give you the latest on that in a moment. And hopefully actually a more thoughtful conversation about this is a very real issue that women deal with, particularly, I think, because of certain biological constraints.
Yes.
And it is something that deserves a thoughtful discussion that hopefully we can have here without calling anybody stupid or sad or depressing. It's 7:15. Now WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes first on the 5.
Anyway, I say all this to say, whenever I'm hard on myself about why I'm not married and I don't have kids and I should be further along at 29, almost 30, I wouldn't want to do anything else this Saturday. And I know that you can do all these things when you have kids and you're married, and I understand, but the effortlessness and ease of my life, just kind of focusing on myself and the shakshuka I want to make.
Yeah, it's shakshuka, babe.
And it's not as though there isn't on social media the idea that mothers are out there constantly bragging about their meaningful life with their children and how, oh my gosh, little Billy just did the cutest thing, which frankly every kid does. I mean, the amount of bragging from moms out there, and there's now this trend of like trad wife. I'm a trad wife, right?
Yeah.
Which drives me absolutely bananas because I've been a trad wife. I didn't even know I was a trad wife, but of this idea of being like a traditional wife.
Yeah.
And look, there's a lot. Go ahead.
Have you noticed that the most popular trad wives on social media have remarkable cleavage?
And tats.
It's really, not only am I a trad wife, but I dress kind of slutty around the kitchen.
I'm a trad wife. I was so busy, I forgot to get dressed. Anyway.
I have no idea why they're so popular.
Shirts? Who needs a shirt?
You're right. I know that. And here, can I just say something that shouldn't be that controversial? I would love for this young woman and other women like her to have different priorities in their life and to really focus and really find value in a relationship and raising children. I would love that to happen. And I think the best way for us to do that is to sort of demonstrate and model to them how wonderful it is to be a mom and to raise children and to find
without the Instagram, all the Instagram films and things that make everything look perfect, right?
And I also think that men need to step up and talk about how fulfilled they are when a woman is committed to them and wants to raise children
and wants
with
to have
them
children
and do all
and
of
be
that.
in a partnership.
That said, here's the controversial part. This woman right here, right now, I don't want her raising children. I would prefer her if this is her priority and these are her values and this is what she wants most out of life.
I don't believe that is.
I'm
I
saying
get it.
if it is,
sure,
then she's exactly where she should be right now in her life.
Sure.
And she doesn't need me to tell her how sad and depressing her life is. She'll get there on her own.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. But again, I think there is a fundamental misunderstanding of what this woman is saying. She is saying, with every choice, and this is true for people who have kids, there are costs to those choices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, I have been driving the same dang car since my middle son was 2 years old. Like, I don't have nice shoes, right? There are trade-offs, okay? And if
that's the TikTok video you need to make. But I love my kids.
I love my kids.
Fine.
Everything's great.
Everything's fine.
It's funny because sometimes you and I and Chris Plant will talk after the show, and you guys talk about all these fun things that you're doing, and I was like, well, I did laundry, So look,
our kids are not in the house.
I know that, but the point is that there are trade-offs, and I really am uncomfortable with women doing this. What surprised me the most was to see that Matt Walsh tweeted this. Not totally surprised because again, he's kind of provocative, but to see how many women piled on this woman.
Conservative women
piled on.
A lot of conservative women.
That just was.
Told Matt Walsh that he crossed the line here.
No. I'm saying
piled on the woman.
On the woman.
Oh, I've seen quite a few pile on Matt Walsh.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I was really surprised that so many women were just sort of like, yeah, your life is meaningless. And that's, again,
all right.
not helpful.
Matt has responded to the controversy. He said this: the woman that I bullied, in quotes, posts constantly on TikTok about how she's 29 and single and living an easy life because she doesn't have kids. She wants people to notice these facts about her, which is why she announced them to the world daily. So I noticed, and I gave my take. That's how the internet works. She's not a victim. Calm down. If you go out in public and promote a life of meaninglessness and despair, I might respond and point out that meaningless and despair are not good things. If you don't want to hear my opinion, then don't start the conversation.
I don't disagree with him 100% here because I do think that I don't know who this woman is, and he monitors this stuff, and he probably has a sense of who's sort of, and if she is doing this repeatedly, we do need to sort of fight back against this culture of narcissism that's out there. This sort of like, oh, my life is great without kids. Like, again, family life, it's worth defending. Yeah. It's worth promoting.
Well, shakshuka vocal fry girl, which is what apparently has a name.
So I've got a pretty stacked day.
Stacked day. She has a name, and she has revealed it, and she responded to Matt Walsh, and you'll hear that in a moment because we got to tie a bow on this one. I love that I'm sitting here saying, we should treat people with respect and not criticize them if we want to bring them around. And all I'm doing is making fun of her vocal fry.
I know.
Shakshuka.
That's okay.
And learn how to make shakshuka. So that's on my agenda today.
Okay, so her name is Julia. Thank you very much. I will not be mocked about my vocal fry. And she has responded to Matt Walsh. We'll let you decide. Because apparently Matt Walsh's fans have been rather aggressive on social media.
Welcome to social media.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julia and I'm 29 and single. Yesterday, someone named Matt Walsh decided to repost a TikTok video that I posted to his 2.4 million followers on X, formerly known as Twitter. And the way that his followers bullied me in the comments, reached out to me on social media, threatened me, was honestly abhorrent. Some of his followers said that I was going to die alone, I should actually die and never leave my house, I should be sexually assaulted, I'm pathetic, and that I was dead behind my eyes. Honestly, that one kind of made me laugh because I use Kosas concealer and I thought that it was working. No, but really, if you haven't watched the video, I suggest you watch it. It's all about how I, a 29-year-old single female, decided to spend my Saturday watching reality TV, learning how to cook shakshuka, and sleeping in until 10 a.m. And these people were really, really, really riled up about my choices on a Saturday. But here,
I love how she I mean, I'm pretty much defending this woman, but
yes,
that wasn't all you were saying, lady.
More to come tonight on the Matt Walsh program, heard here at 10 p.m. You're welcome, Matt. It's 7:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station.
Making sense of the news.
News Talk 105.9.
News now
On News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 7:36 as we chug along here on this busy Tuesday morning. Welcome back from your Labor Day holiday, if you took it. And great to be back here from vacation as well. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock, and we got Brett Bozell joining us from Media Research Center at 8:35. And right now, just as great, we've got Steve Moore, Heritage Foundation economist. As I've heard, a happy Labor Day, Steve Moore.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. So if this presidential election is about the economy, who wins?
Trump does. Yeah, Trump does if it's about the economy. Look, there's still a year and 3 months or so to go, so a lot can change with the economy. But if it were right now and Americans were voting on the state of the economy and how it was under Trump versus how it is under Biden, Trump would win.
So Joe Biden said yesterday that we have the strongest economy and lowest inflation rate in the world.
Well, if he wants to own this economy, he can have it. That's as a Trump guy would say that. Now here's the deception that Biden made. And by the way, the job market is pretty strong right now. There's no question about it. There's still more jobs available than people looking for work. So, for people who are looking for a new job, if you've got any useful skill other than being having a sociology degree, you can probably find a job out there. They're still available. Now, here's what Biden is saying, though, that I just find so offensive, and it's so obviously wrong that it's almost a laughable claim, because he made this the other day again. He said that he's created more jobs than any other president, and that Donald Trump is only one of two presidents to actually come into office and in 4 years lost jobs. By the way, the other one was Herbert Hoover. Here's the problem. You know that, right? You know what's wrong.
Yeah, gee, did something happen there at the end of the Trump presidency that may have caused those jobs?
That's right. We lost 8 to 10 million jobs.
Actually, Steve,
COVID,
I mean, you're the expert, but could I just gently correct you? We didn't lose jobs. The government literally made it illegal to go to work.
That's putting it very, very well, very plainly, and that's right. So, 8 to 10 million jobs were destroyed by the government, and a lot of people were off. And then, of course, half of those had already come back by the time Biden entered office. And so, the vaccine, I love, by the way, the fact that Biden is also taking credit for the vaccine, even though, of course, that was Operation Warp Speed. So that's the jobs front. The jobs are out there. The big problem for Biden, I think, is that Americans are poorer today than they were when Trump left office. And that is putting an incredible financial squeeze on the average American family. I mean, there was a statistic that came out last week. You all know that there's now a record $1 trillion of consumer credit card debt. $1 trillion, highest ever.
Yeah.
Good going, Joe. And half of the families are now saying they're having a problem paying off that monthly credit card debt. Well, I got to tell you, Julie and Larry, some of those credit card companies are charging you 20 to 25% interest if you don't pay that credit card debt.
Steve, the credit card debt is incredibly alarming, but it's not just that. they're looting their retirement savings. It's up 36%. Talk to me about that. That, they're having trouble paying their credit cards. They're not going to ever be able to stop working if they're looting these retirement savings.
Yeah, so people are dipping into their 401k plans early, and by the way, that's a really dumb thing to do too, because you pay an enormous penalty if you dip into your 401k plan before your retirement age. But it's showing how financially stressed out people are right now, and so it's an economy that is doing a little. It's certainly better than it was last summer. Last summer we had 9.2% inflation. Now we have about 3.5 to 4%. But the other thing I got to tell you guys, and I don't know if you experienced this, but this weekend I did go with my wife to the grocery store, and she normally does the shopping, because she made me go. She said, Steve, you have no idea what things cost. And it was unbelievable how much, everything seemed like twice as expensive as it used to be. And the same thing with airline tickets, the same thing with utility bills, mortgages, rent payments. So my point is, Larry and Julie, the things that people have to buy, those aren't up by 3.5 to 4%. They're up by like 10% in the last year.
Steve Moore is our guest, Heritage Foundation economist. His book, by the way, GovZilla, How the Relentless Growth of Government is Devouring Our Economy and Our Freedom. And he's with the Committee to Unleash Prosperity, where you're still doing your daily newsletter, which is fantastic and really educational, Steve. Thank you for that.
It's free.
And it's free. So Steve, this is, I guess, the question. How do we direct the conversation in this country in that direction, specifically about the realities of this economy? Because they're taking statistics and they're trying to tell people a story. Bidenomics, it's working. Do we have the means and method to actually explain the reality of the situation, other than just reminding people what they're dealing with when they go to the grocery store?
This is a story that transcends spin. In other words, you can't tell people. Look, when you have 70% of Americans saying that things aren't going well for them financially and that the economy's heading in the wrong direction, you can't go out there and say, oh, no, everything's just fine. It's like the old joke, about psychiatrists. Mm-hmm. You just think you're unhappy. You really are happy. Well, this is like, no, you're really unhappy, and you should be happy. And that's what Biden's trying to tell people, and they're not, because they're financially squeezed. And so it doesn't matter what you or I or Joe Biden or anyone says. People know their personal finances, and they know the situation they're in. Mm-hmm. That's why, when I did get together with Trump about 2 weeks ago, and he wanted to talk about, what was going on with the economy, with Larry Kudlow and I and a couple of others. And the first thing I said was, look, this is an easy election. You just do what Reagan. Remember what Reagan did in the debate with Carter, the famous debate?
Yeah. Are you better off?
He said, are you better off?
Yep.
And
are you better off?
It's going to come down to that. Oh, by the way, one other quick thing. I know we're running out of time. Did you see the, of all places, Washington Post headline story yesterday, a $2 trillion deficit this year? Gee, I thought Joe Biden said I've cut the deficit more than any other president in history.
Hey, real fast, one other quick thing. This looming UAW strike, what might that do?
Well, this is because of inflation. Workers are squeezed. Even labor union workers are feeling like, so Ford is offering a 16% raise over 4 years. And you know what? The union's saying, no, we're not going to take that. We think inflation's higher than 4% thanks to Biden. So I see the case that the UAW is making, that they can't. It's hard to do a 4-year contract when you don't know what prices are going to be. This is the same problem we had under Jimmy Carter. The famous case where the UAW got a 3-year 18% increase in wages in 1978, and they lost money because inflation was 10%.
Right. All right. Thank you, Steve Moore. Great stuff as always.
Thank you, Steve.
It's 7:44.
Bye.
It's been a while since I've been a young man with going to clubs and seeing young women at clubs or bars or what have you. It's been quite some time.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think has always stayed consistent is that when a young woman goes to a club or a bar or any kind of social thing, they just want to be left alone. Right? I mean, that's the reason you go out there. Well, here's a woman who has gone to social media to explain the best possible way to be left alone when you go out to a club. Because women they just want peace and quiet and to be left
right.
alone.
Just brace for more vocal fry.
Yeah,
okay?
there's a consistency here. She is explaining that you want to put on unapproachable makeup. This is a way to put makeup on that makes you basically repel men.
And it's not.
Listen, I've been dating.
I'm sorry, but it's not a clown face. It's very thick.
Here's how she explains.
Yes.
Listen, I've been dating my boyfriend for almost 3 years now, and we've been living together for a month. I've learned a few things about not letting men approach me when I go out without my boyfriend, and I've come to find out that this makeup look, honestly, is one of them. This is the Say Bronzing Drops. We're gonna put on some tinted moisturizer. Now, I'm not saying that every guy that goes out is just like trying to get you to go home with them.
Can I just say, if you really want men to not approach you, don't wear any makeup at all.
Or don't make everything a question.
All right, so it's kind of hard to do the visual, but I'm looking at the makeup, and she looks quite pretty, actually.
Well, yes, it's like, I would call this evening makeup.
Okay.
She's basically putting on like something that you go to a very nice dinner or an event.
Right.
It's
So-
thick.
Which this is, I gotta say, kind of a 3D chess move, because as she goes on to explain, if you look really good and really put together and you put a lot of time in your makeup, men don't want to approach you. This is fascinating,
Let's
actually.
be clear. This girl really is her own greatest fan. I mean, she really loves herself. At the end, she's like, oh my God. She's like Dylan Mulvaney level excited.
In fact, for all I know.
We're gonna put on some concealer, and honestly, we're not gonna put on a lot, just a little bit. A lot of people think that when you look good, guys will naturally just approach you at a bar, but honestly, when you look really good, really good, they won't, because they're too scared. A little bit of powder. Nothing is better than makeup looks than when guys have to send their friends over to get your number. We're gonna put some powder blush on top. So pretty. Okay, moving on to the eyes. We're gonna
I think Matt Walsh is right about all these.
Matt Walsh would lose his mind with this girl.
So I lay this out. First of all, did you have to do tricks to keep the men away
Oh
from you?
yeah. Oh no. Oh my gosh.
Was it
I
a
am
big makeup?
still beating them off, Larry. I am like, come on. I am married. Yeah. Right. This is definitely a new thing. This generation, I swear, is just yeah. Look, you got to come up with new content, right?
The reason that I share this with everybody, people of our generation, is to just make you grateful that you raised the daughters that you raised.
To be grateful that you're closer to death than
And
birth.
that you're not part
You will
of this
soon be
generation. But many of us have kids. I have daughters this girl's age.
Yeah.
And as frustrating as they are to me in my life, and trust me, they are frustrating. They're not this woman. No.
I have advice for this girl. That boyfriend she has, hang on for
luck.
dear life.
Her boyfriend's name is Dylan. No, Bruce. Lance?
Chad.
Doug. That's it. 7:53.